When KD was traded this summer, it felt like the end of an era in Phoenix. No super team, no clear direction, and definitely no title hopes. Or so we thought. Because while everyone counted the Suns out, they quietly started holding their own in one of the most brutal conferences we've ever seen, winning games they had no business in winning. So how did this happen? How did Phoenix flip a failed super team into one of this season's biggest surprises? To understand that, we have to go back to 2023. Our story begins in 2023 when Robert Sarver decided to sell the Suns. Now this was great news for the Suns because Sarver was notorious for being cheap. From 2004 to 2010, the Suns gave up 7 first-round picks for about $10 million. He did it to stay under the luxury tax, but it may have costed the Suns a title. Not to mention, he refused to pay players. A 23-year-old Joe Johnson walked for nothing in free agency and later became an 8-time All-Star, all because Sarver wanted to play it safe. Same thing for Amari Stoudemire, whose departure led to the end of the Steve Nash era in Phoenix. That said, when fans got news that the team would have a new owner, they were stoked. You see, the Suns' new owner, Matt Ishbia, didn't waste time when he got into office. As one of the NBA's top richest owners, Ishbia acquired KD 2 days after becoming the team's owner. And although this may have seemed like a plus for the Suns, it really wasn't. In order to get KD, the Suns gave up Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, and 5 first-round picks, essentially giving up depth in your team's future for KD. Now this trade wouldn't have major complications if the Suns did well in the postseason, but unfortunately, that wasn't the case. The Suns' season got cut short to the Nuggets in the second round. With that failure, Ishbia decided to double down, swapping Chris Paul and picks for Bradley Beal, whose contract ended up being the worst in league's history. And arguably worse, he gave up DeAndre Ayton and Tumani Kamara for Yusuf Nurkic and Grayson Allen. On the outside, it looks like a simple deal, but when you look closer, it becomes one of the worst moves Ishbia's made. Yes, Allen has done great things for the Suns since, but Nurkic, he's slowly become one of the worst bigs in the league. Not even that, but Kamara went on to have an insane rookie campaign, and from the looks of it, is a future star. So with all this, the Suns must have improved, right? Well, if you count getting swept in the first round, then technically yes. By this point, the Suns' time was ticking. With the single-handedly most expensive roster in the league, the room for error was small heading into the 2025 season. And hate to break it to you, but let's just say the Suns didn't do that well. With a combination of injuries, coaching complications, and lack of depth, the Suns missed out on the playoffs. A team that had poured virtually all of their assets around a quote-unquote super team couldn't even make the playoffs. This was a bad look, and for this exact reasoning, KD wanted out. And with that said, a few days later, this happened.
Huge reporting from Shams Charania that the Suns are trading 15-time All-Star Kevin Durant to the Rockets.
This left the Suns lost. An expensive roster, no depth, and no draft picks. All this to say, the Suns had no direction. The Suns gambled everything on a title run and lost. And when the dust settled, it felt like Phoenix had officially run out of answers. But even in their darkest moments, there was one promise still standing, and it would become the foundation of everything that came next. Right before the season began, an article came out quoting Ishbia on the team's future. Ishbia promised fans that this year's team would play with the toughness and grit. Usually when an owner says this, it's mumbo jumbo, but in this case, it wasn't, leaving fans with a promise going into the season. Nonetheless, heading into the season, Bleacher Report ranked the Suns 26th on their power rankings. So with nothing to lose, the Suns entered the season a little different, because that promise of grit wasn't just talk, it became their blueprint. The Suns played harder, faster, and more connected than teams with twice the talent. They won games they were supposed to lose, and stayed competitive when the odds said they shouldn't. And by the time the league caught on, Phoenix had already rewritten the narrative of their season. By this point, we're halfway through the season and the Suns are 31-20, holding up with the greatest conference the league's ever had. But this quick rise to success wasn't by chance, but by patience. From day one on the job, Ishbia never cared for the team's core and depth, instead immediately wanting to go for the blockbuster move no matter the implications it would later have, even going on record saying he hates the rebuilding process. However, this year things have changed, and it's very evident. If you ask a casual NBA fan, they probably can only name one player on the Suns roster currently, that being Devin Booker. But what about the other guys? Although they may not be the most flashy, they're the pieces who separate a playoff team from a championship team. Our recent champions are a great example. For every shade, there's a Lou Dort or Cason Wallace. Those players are the difference makers. And now with the Suns focusing on guys like Dylan Brooks and Colin Gillespie, it's no wonder why they've been so successful this season. The Suns stopped trying to skip steps, and ironically, that's what moved them forward. The super team era failed, but what replaced it might actually last.